agenda, item 4 is approval of minutes of the regular meeting of June the 18th, 2024.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. The second item under 4 is item B, approval of minutes of the special joint meeting of July the 15th, 2024.
Move approval. Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion also carries unanimously. That brings us to item 5 on our agenda, awards and recognitions. We do have the Colleton County Sheriff's Office cadet post of 843. I see that we have the sheriff here, but I'm not sure if the sheriff is going to be represented.
Lieutenant Valentine.
Lieutenant Valentine is going to be represented, so Lieutenant Valentine, will turn it over to you at this time.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman and council members, want to this evening like to recognize the accomplishment of some of our youth that's in our program with the Colleton County Sheriff's Department Cadet Post 843. This summer, they traveled to Summerville, where the South Carolina Association of Law Enforcement Explorers Conference was hosted. And this is where they bring different explorer posts from across the state and also from Tennessee. Coming in, there was 14 teams that participated and one from Tennessee that came together to show who was the best out of the best. Teams were placed in scenarios that law enforcement officers would encounter on a daily basis or may encounter, and they're scored by our veteran law enforcement officers that are part of the organization that is hosting the event for that year. This year's team I'd like to recognize, when I call your name, if you just stand. Our team consisted of Cadet Lieutenant Hunter Gooding, Cadet Sergeant Levi Seitner, Cadet Sergeant Aiden Schulte, and Cadet Connor Lieback. Their advisors that accompanied them on this competition was Sergeant Philip Cole and Deputy Christopher Vandermoor. The team placed in the following categories. There were individual awards that they participated in. Cadet Levi Sergeant Seitner, he placed second in the physical agility test. The physical agility test is a test that anyone that would like to become a law enforcement officer, when they tend to go to the academy, they have to run a physical agility course and meet it within a certain period. The times of these cadets were selected by who had the best times in running the course. So Sergeant Levi was able to place second. Also in individual awards, our advisors are also able to participate in some competition, and usually they do driving and firearms. And this year we participated in the firearms, and Deputy Christopher Vandermark, he placed second amongst the advisors in firearms qualification. Part of this team was also team awards where they were teamed up as partners. Some situations was partnered as two, and some was placed as a whole four-man team. Our cadets were able to place third place in high-risk traffic stops, third place in drug search warrant execution, and also third place in multi-jurisdiction, where our cadets, along with Mount Pleasant, Goose Creek, and Police Department, dealt with an escaped inmate type scenario. So this evening, our cadets, we want to thank y'all for y'all's continued support of these youth. We hear a lot of things that take place in Colleton County, always the negative things, but I feel tonight was a good time to also recognize some of the youth that are staying focused of what they want to possibly accomplish in their life. The Law Enforcement Explorer program is not necessary to say they have to go in law enforcement, but it gives them some guidance and some structure as they enter either into college or into the workforce. So again, I want to thank y'all for allowing us to come to recognize these cadets, and thank y'all for your continued support.
Lieutenant Valentine, if they wouldn't mind, if they'll come up front here, we'd like to come around and have a photo there. Taller than us.
He's on his tippy toes.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay, we will also, under awards and recognitions this evening, we have a proclamation that I'd like to read into the record at this time. Proclaiming the Veterans of the Foreign Wars of the United States 125th anniversary on September 29, 2024. Whereas the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States, VFW, was founded in 1899 by a small group of veterans who returned from campaigns on Cuba and in the Philippines, banded together to create a veterans organization that would advocate on behalf of all veterans. And whereas the VFW is a nonprofit veterans service organization comprised of eligible veterans and military service members from the active, Guard, and Reserve forces. And whereas the VFW's mission is to foster camaraderie among United States veterans of overseas conflicts, to serve our veterans, the military, and our communities, and to advocate on behalf of all veterans. And whereas since its inception, the VFW has been instrumental in the establishment of the Veterans Administration, the National Cemetery System, and the creation of every National Veterans Memorial. And whereas the VFW has played a vital role in virtually every significant piece of veterans legislation passed in the 20th and 21st centuries, to include the Honor in Our Pact Act, the most significant expansion of veterans benefits in history. And whereas the VFW's 125th anniversary is being observed on September 29, 2024, this date shall officially be known as VFW Day. And now therefore be it proclaimed by Colleton County Council duly assembled that we hereby declare September 29, 2024 as Veterans of Foreign Wars Day in honor of the VFW's invaluable contributions to the veteran community in Colleton County and around the world. We hereby stand with the VFW to ensure veterans are respected for their service, always receive their earned entitlements, and are recognized for the sacrifices they and their loved ones have made on behalf of this great country.
Move the proclamation.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried unanimously. And if we have somebody from the Veterans Office here that wants to come up, and all of you come up and have a photo made with you as well.
How you doing, sir? Before we do the dancing?
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
We'll have all flags. Thanks.
All right, we'll then move on the agenda to item 6, appearances and public presentations. As I mentioned earlier, we're very fortunate to have Representative Robbie Robbins present with us this evening. Robbie is, I guess you'd say he's still fairly new to our delegation, but he's been a very, very active member of our delegation since he's been elected. And we really appreciate his service and what he does for our county. So, Representative Robbins, I'll turn it over to you at this time. If you wouldn't mind coming up to the podium.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It is always a delight to be here with y'all, with staff, and with these fine citizens of Colleton County, and particularly the ones that were just up here. Without them, we wouldn't have the freedoms that we all enjoy, so we appreciate you veterans. I just want to take a couple minutes to talk to you about the state of the state, if you will, not the way that the governor does, but just to talk about what we see coming in the 2025 session in Columbia. And as you know, we didn't get quite as much, quite as many projects brought back here in the 24 session as we did in 23, but we did have one very significant win, and that was to get the money for the Colleton Library expansion. And one of the treats that I think I've had in the 2.5 years that I've been doing this now is to understand how important that library is to the Colletonville community. And it's not just a library, it is really a gathering place for a number of different activities in that area. And so being able to get into a larger, more modern place is a really big deal for them, and we were really happy to be able to get that this year. With respect to next year, we just got some economic numbers from the folks in Columbia that do that for a living, and the economic forecast is very good. There are some significant needs still to be met here, and so I look forward to going back and advocating for y'all next year as we look at the budget and what we can do to help Colleton County. What I'd like to focus on tonight, just for a couple minutes, is an issue that you all know a lot about, but I just want to continue to bring it into the public sphere, and that is the energy plant that is proposed in Kansas. I want to thank each and every one of you for endorsing that project and helping me advocate for it. It is vitally important to Colleton County. I am pleased to report that we had our caucus retreat last week, and during that retreat, they were meeting in Columbia for the first time. The Senate Working Committee met for the first time to start reviewing what the House passed and helping the Senate formulate their position on the bill that passed out of the House. There is a slight chance, maybe, that they could act in the Senate before the end of the year, but I think it's more likely that that working group will take recommendations back to the full body in January, and hopefully we'll get a bill next session. And I know y'all know this, but for the benefit of the general public, the bill simply, the main purpose of the bill is to allow Santee Cooper to joint venture with Dominion plant, then Dominion can build by themselves. And because Santee Cooper is a state agency, they have to have legislation to approve that in order to do it. And that's the main thrust of the bill, and hopefully it'll happen. But as you all know, there will be ample construction jobs associated with this project. It will take a number of years for it to be built. It will put a significant business on the tax rolls for the county. It will also create somewhere between 75 and 100 permanent jobs that will be well-paying jobs. And I think equally as important, it will allow citizens who live within anywhere in Colleton County to get to a really good place to work in a short amount of time. One of our biggest issues right now is having to travel miles and miles distances to work, and it adds to the congestion on the road. So I think that there are a number of great factors involved with the project. It is certainly something that would be an economic boost to Colleton County. So we're going to continue to push in this coming session for that. I'll keep y'all posted as I find out information, but I think it was a very positive thing that the Senate committee met, and the feedback from that initial meeting was good. So we will keep pushing there. If there's anything that I can do to help y'all individually or collectively, staff, if y'all need anything, please let me know. And I want to commend you for how you responded to adversity in the recent tropical storm. Never seen more of that high on the Edisto in my life. I don't think Scott has either. And it was definitely a trying time, but I know how hard everybody worked, and we just really appreciate your responses to the citizens who were affected. I'll be happy to answer any questions, Chairman, if anybody has any about any issues.
I got one thing. I just want to say, Robbie, how much we appreciate what you do for us. You work hard, and we thank you for everything you do.
Appreciate it.
I echo that. I'd like to thank you very much. Appreciate the continued support.
It is truly, I've really enjoyed it. I really have. It's a bear because the district is so big. And I spent, Chairman and I both were in Bluffton this morning. You know, it's a lot of wear and tear, but I have thoroughly enjoyed representing the folks of Colleton County, and it has been an absolute pleasure. Look forward to it.
I do have, go ahead.
I just want to say, Robbie, Representative Robbins, it blows me away that people here don't know. Every event I go to in Colleton County, you're there. It's like you don't have anywhere else to be. I mean, your district covers such a large area. There must be two of you. I mean, the work you do in response, and I call you with something, you are so responsive, I don't know how you do it all. So I just want to commend you for that, and thank you for all the work. And congratulations on being chair of the delegation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I will echo that, and particularly, I mean, you represent probably one of the smaller areas of our region, but even when we had to go on the Washington trip, I mean, Robbie was there, and we were up there trying to bring back some resources, but you brought some back. Yeah, I was mainly there just to make sure Robbie was behaving, but any event, he also is he's the only guy I know that's been in office 2.5 years, and I think he ran about 4 times.
Had a lot of races in 22. I got to know Bub and Scott real well.
So, but it's, you know, we were in this chamber, I think you were here when Dominion.
Yes, sir.
Dominion was here, Kelly Sam was here. We heard what shocked me, really, maybe it shouldn't have, but that there has not been any investment in power generation infrastructure in the state of South Carolina in over 7 years. And that's horrifying, considering that we are actually, for the first time, and we heard some of this today, in positions that we don't have enough power for economic development projects, and so we're having to be in a position soon where potentially we're going to have to turn those away. So that, I know you can't do a lot about what happens on the Senate side, but getting these plants up and running, and Kennedy is a step ahead of a new plant, because you know, all the infrastructure is almost in place, except for maybe some right-of-way issues for the gas. But it is critically important, particularly in our region, as you're well aware. But I hope that you will send that message to the remaining members of the delegation, just how important it is to get this infrastructure up and functioning.
We certainly will, and I can tell you that we had some conversations when we were at our caucus retreat with representatives in the energy industry, and that is absolutely true. Nobody's crying wolf. With the number of people that are moving here, with the number of businesses and industries that are moving here, we've got to create more power. And we'd rather do it ourselves and not have to be relying on some other state to provide it to us. So that's the game plan anyway.
Any other questions? Representative Robbins, thank you as always.
Thank you for giving me time to speak to you. Appreciate it very much. Y'all have a good evening.
Have a safe trip.
Thank you, sir.
The next, under appearance and public presentations, we have Mr. Crawford Moore, the Mayor of Edisto Beach. Mayor, I'll turn it over to you at this time. He has actually put in front of you a memorandum, so everybody should have a copy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. This is a good report. So I'm going to thank you for your time first. I'll be as brief as possible and try to cover this as quickly and from a high altitude as possible. I'm sure you have all have more important things to do than sit here and listen to me. Every year at our July Town Council meeting, I do a State of the Town report. This is a synopsis of all the projects and issues that we have worked on for the past fiscal year. I've made available for you a copy of that. Recently, several of you have visited us out at Edisto Beach and spent some time brought up to date on our projects we have going on. We appreciate you taking the time to do that also. After a discussion with Mr. Chairman, we agreed that on occasion we would bring you up to speed as a council on where we are at Edisto Beach and where we're headed. Our most current next challenge is growth. We're experiencing a 50% increase in day traffic from last year. Handling that will be our next huge hurdle. This will put stress on our infrastructure for law enforcement, utilities, traffic, fire and rescue, etc. And that leads into the next challenge. So there's more people coming to Edisto Beach. It translates to more people on the beach. As you know, just like the state park, the beach itself belongs to the public. Like the state park, it's a public beach. It doesn't belong to the town. But when it comes to taking care of it, it falls directly under our responsibility. Again, beach patrol, law enforcement, fire rescue, garbage, beach cleanup, nourishment, turtles, etc. All this comes under the direct responsibility of the town. And that leads us into our next project, beach nourishment. As you all know, we're in a contract with the Army Corps now with a 65-35 split. We've been able to raise the 35% that we're going to have to come up with. The Army Corps did let us know the last couple of weeks they're having to reevaluate the costs because the costs are going up. And so we're going to have to make sure that we can make a part of that. But anyway, we know that they're going to start in the fall of 2025, so we're just a year away from getting that project done. The big challenge for this is going to be the next round. And it's every 15 to 20 years this will have to be done to hold the beach together. And so that's what we're looking at now. And in this process, the town has been putting back, we've actually raised it to a higher number this year, but we put back $300,000 a year out of our tourist money each year and just put it to a savings towards our next nourishment. We'll continue to do that for our next round in the 15 to 20 year time frame. In 2020, we did do a new water system, as you're aware of, a new reverse osmosis water system. And we did that with the revenue bonding on our home. And that has turned out really well and works really well. And currently, adding to that, our next project is working towards putting on electronic water meters, which will streamline our cash flow and make operations budgeting more accurate. It will also give us a way for early detection of leaks that otherwise could go on for months without knowledge of them reducing wasted water significantly. We're also working on a lagoon study. We did a arc billow drainage upgrade over the last 3 years, and we're looking at the other side of the beach, which the beach kind of drains in two directions. The middle one goes one way down Arc Billow out to Big Bay Creek, and the other side kind of drains through the lagoons to the far end down Whaley Street, and then goes out into the yacht basin out there. So we're working on this lagoon study to see how we can get the lagoon to help us during these storms and drainage, and we're working on that. Our Emergency Operations Center complex is moving forward as part of the county's capital project sales tax passed last year. Thank you. Without that, our getting back into business would be much more difficult. And we're going to, with that ESC being on site, it's going to go a lot quicker, and we'll be able to get over quicker, and that's good for everybody. We're finishing up with our architect now, and have just approved hiring our project management team, so we should be breaking ground sometime late this fall. We'll make sure to let you know when that is for the groundbreaking without the commitment, because without the commitment of the county and its capital project sales tax, this would not be possible. And we thank you again for your commitment to Edisto Beach with this project. It will benefit Edisto Beach and the county. We're also in the process of upgrading our bike paths, which are in desperate need. This is part of our long-term recreational plan for the town. They're heavily used and enjoyed by our tourists and residents alike. So far this year, we've had little issues until earlier last month, tornadoes from Betty. Other than the normal ones, Memorial Day was extremely busy. We had our first town-sponsored 4th of July celebration with fireworks, which was a great success. Of course, this is a free event and open to the public, and will remain so. We just finished up the Governor's Cup fishing tournament to set state records this year, huge success with lots of people. This event starts on Wednesday and runs through Sunday, so it has significant economic impact in regard to rentals, restaurants, tourist dollars spent, also a benefit to the town and the county. Next is our Shag Festival, that's this weekend, which is always a favorite to the public and brings in huge crowds, benefiting the town and the county also. We have some other projects on the radar, but they have been a long way ahead, so I won't get too much into those. I will come back to the week of August 6th, since Hurricane Debbie around us as a tropical storm. We were fortunate that the storm surge had little effect on us. That's usually our biggest concern is the storm surge. We had flash flooding, but the real damage came from the 2 tornadoes that hit our 100 and 2700 block. Significant damage to 8 homes, 1 total loss, 2 businesses with significant damage, no one hurt. That's the main one, no one's hurt. I want to thank your emergency team, David Green and his staff, along with your fire rescue team and of course your sheriff's department. Without each of them and our team working together, it wouldn't have gone as smoothly as it did. We're all in this together and it works very, very well. Edisto Beach is a small South Carolina town that happens just to have a beach. So when it comes to events like this, it takes everyone, it takes all hands. And that's what we had during this past storm, and we appreciate the county's commitment to that. Our job as a council at Edisto Beach is not in the right now. We set policy, and those policies are enforced by our staff. We, as are you, are in the policy-setting business. Our focus is always looking long down the road in the 10 to 20-year time frame ahead. What issues can we start addressing now that may be an issue in the future? How can we prepare for what's headed our way down the road? On a final note, I'll wrap it up. In the early 1970s, I'm not sure who will remember, but we used to be in Charleston County. And there was I guess you could call it a coup. I'm not sure what else it would be called. But I guess in their own coup, they decided to switch to Colleton County. And I really haven't had an opinion on that until I became mayor or served on council. And I think it's probably one of the smartest decisions that the leadership of Edisto Beach ever made, was to come over to Colleton County. I think because we work so well together, and we're able to get so many things done together, that if we were in Charleston County, we'd be lost at Walmart or something, you know, it wouldn't work. But one of the emphasize also is in our business, everything is about relationships. So you hear me say that all the time. So it's all about relationships. Law enforcement with Sheriff Hill, fire protection and rescue through our memorandum of understanding, mutual aid agreement. Thank you, Chief McCroy, for that. Ongoing. And thank you all as a board for your continued support of Edisto Beach. We're important to each other, and I appreciate our strong relationship. One more thing, living full-time at Edisto Beach has its challenges. One is logistics. We often find ourselves having to run into town for errands because of our remoteness. I have recently spoken with several residents who have shared that they are no longer driving up to Highway 17 and taking a right and going to Charleston. They are finding it much more practical to take a left and come into Walsenburg for their needs. I know that my wife and I both do that. So I want to thank you for your time tonight, mostly for our relationship. Before I moved to Edisto Beach, I served 2 terms on Chesapeake County Council. So I've been where you are, and I can tell you, we were never able to have the relationship with either of the towns that the 2 of us have now. And we at Edisto Beach appreciate that more than you could know. Thank you. And I'll take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions, Mr. Chair? Mayor Moore, I want to tell you, come out and see your meetings and be part of it. Thank you for inviting us out. You have a Tuesday morning meeting and you have a Thursday meeting. The relationship is very easy to have. The organization is run as good and as smooth as yours. You'll have a very professional organization, and we're lucky to have you in the county. I want to thank you for the professionalism, number one. And you're right, the coup or the succession, if you will, in 1975, I think it was, somewhere in there. You are a big part of our tax base, and you're a shining diamond in our county. So I really want to thank you for that. We like to be a part of it. So we commend you for the way y'all handle yourself.
Appreciate that. Like I said, we love being part of Colleton County, and the relationship's been dynamic. And as far as our meetings and all that, we have a really, really great council. We have a great staff, really good people working for the town, and I can't brag on them enough. And it works out great for me because I get to be the lowest guy in the room, and I like it.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I just want to say, same thing Scott said, we love coming down into the meetings, and y'all make us very welcome, and
You're welcome anytime.
we appreciate, what you do for Edisto Beach. I spent many a day on this. And I can't tell a lot of details we do on this. Edisto Beach has a place in
It
my
might
heart.
make you notorious.
I too want to thank the mayor and appreciate what you're doing. Look forward to the emergency operations center, getting it going, and just glad that.
We're going to do a groundbreaking, and so y'all certainly be on the invite.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. We'll move on to the agenda. Item 7, administrative briefing. I know administrator's under the weather tonight. Megan, do we have a briefing, or are we?
Well, Mr. Chairman, members of council, we have Dr. Green here, and he's going to give y'all an update on Tropical Storm Debbie and the subsequent flooding.
Right.
And if you have any questions, I can.
Okay. All right. Dr. Green, how are you this evening?
Good evening. Let's see if I can remember the password. Can't handle the pressure.
You gotta give that quote you gave, you said Mike Tyson did that quote?
Right.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, good evening. Happy to report that we're out of our emergency operations for Tropical Storm Debbie, but we're now in recovery, and that's going to certainly take some time. So I wanted to talk about what Fire Rescue's Emergency Management Division is doing. First, I'm sure all of you have been exposed to this, but for the members of the public, I want to distinguish between what public assistance is and what individual assistance is. So it's a bit of a misnomer. Public assistance is not for the public, it's for government. So there are thresholds we'll see in just a minute that we have to meet. Individual assistance is what's going to help our citizens, and we're going to talk about each one of those just briefly. First off, the declaration we got, there's a lot of folks have been calling about a declaration. We received an emergency declaration from the President during the storm. That covered our public assistance, again, for government, for Category B expenses. That's for sheltering, emergency protective measures, and that sort of thing. So it was not assistance for our citizens. It only covered what our emergency protective measures were during the storm. Public assistance thresholds, you can see them there. We have to meet both our county and our state threshold in order to get a public assistance disaster declaration. And it is certainly not a blank check. It covers up to 75% in most cases of what our expenses are, but it does not cover all of them. There's a 276-page document out there called the Papa G, and it is very exciting reading if you ever want to check it out. But John, who is John Carpenter, our finance director, he is certainly an asset to this county. He knows it backwards and forwards, and I always call him anytime I have a question. Last week we were dealing with mosquito remediation and how do we deal with that, and we get reimbursed for increased costs and increased spraying. That requires a public health official locally to say that there'll be an increase in mosquito-borne viruses, then that has to be sent to FEMA. They have to consult with the CDC and then back to us, which obviously would take some time. Individual assistance, again, requires a disaster declaration, not an emergency declaration, which is what we got during the storm. That requires a number of steps. First, we have to do a local initial damage assessment of all the damaged properties. That data gets sent to the South Carolina Emergency Management Division, where it's compiled with other counties. Then we have a joint preliminary damage assessment with FEMA, the South Carolina Emergency Management Division, Small Business Administration, and others. Based on that JPDA, FEMA will return that data to the governor's office, and he can decide whether to submit to the president for a disaster declaration. And then if Colleton County receives a disaster declaration, that would be where the individual assistance, the FEMA financial assistance for our citizens would turn on. We are right there. Our meeting with the FEMA folks, our JPDA, is this Thursday. And during that meeting, they'll be asking Mr. Carpenter quite a few questions about our public assistance costs, and we'll be taking the FEMA folks around to see all of our major damaged properties, destroyed properties, and the majority of our properties with minor damage even. So it'll be a full day. If we do get an individual assistance declaration, there are a number of programs that can come into effect, but certainly that's not a given. They're looking for widespread damage. There's no real threshold. You don't have to have above 200 homes damaged or above a certain number. But they're primarily going to provide assistance to primary residences, owner-occupied, uninsured residents. Doesn't mean that you can't apply for assistance if you have insurance, but they will not duplicate those benefits. If you got a $100,000 home, you've received $100,000 from your insurance company, they're not going to give you another $100,000. They don't duplicate that. Generally, the financial assistance and all of those programs that you see will come in one of a couple of forms, either a small business administration loan, which is low interest, long-term loan that allows you to make repairs to your property, or individual assistance grants. And those, unfortunately, and you won't read this in a FEMA document anywhere, but FEMA is not designed to make you whole. The maximum amount you would get from an individual assistance grant is $42,500, and less than 1% of applicants receive that. The average award is $1,500. So while we message all the time that the best defense against the loss is insurance, because a lot of times if you're in a $100,000 home and it gets completely destroyed, even if you're in the less than 1%, you get the $42,500. It's not going to make you whole again. You're going to build a new $100,000 home. We've been working with a number of folks. Salvation Army provided us a lot of clean out, muck out buckets that we have. We've distributed them from Station 36 up on Augusta Highway right next to Gruber's Crossroads. We've given out 277 of them, but it's important to note that only 91 of them went to the Edisto River Corridor addresses. So didn't mean that 277 folks had water in their homes. They may have had flooding somewhere else in another part of the county. We've been working with the Southern Baptist Disaster Relief and Team Rubicon since Monday, August the 12th, and they were largely downsizing. The Baptists had an Alabama contingent here that has returned to Alabama, and Team Rubicon is largely demobilized as well. Our damage assessments are ongoing. We were working on them all day today, and they're our moving target. This destroyed property becomes minor damage when we get pictures from the inside. Additional properties come in by phone or through continued damage assessments in the field. And this is where we sit today. The 234 properties that are damaged, of those 108 are affected. That means cosmetic damage, something that doesn't affect the livability of the home. Minor damage would be, depending on whether it's a fixed or mobile property, the water either did not contact the floor, or if it did in a fixed property, it didn't go very high. The major damages are where you see water above 18 inches in the home, which we had several that had 3 or 4 feet in the home, so we had a number of those. And then we had 2 destroyed properties. One is on Cardinal Lane, and the other one was on Edisto Beach from the second tornado that hit there. The Southern Baptist and Team Rubicon have been working with us to reach out to the folks to determine who needs assistance, and from those, they've either completed a few. I think there's 6 of them I think that have already been done, and there's 65 so far that they've talked to that did not need assistance. And with that, I will be glad to entertain any questions.
Anybody got a question?
I do, Mr. Chair. No question. I just want to tell you, man, I was in the epicenter of that. You guys were everywhere. The assistance was there. You were so professional. The disaster relief organizations are down there now. They work from the house on the next street. They're working right down from us now. The coordination you guys have done with that to help these people after the fact, they were desperate. They didn't know where to turn, was greatly appreciated. The man down there helping right now, we're helping out a lot to get him out and get him back in. But that team coming in, the relief that you can see on his face, and he was so passionate about. That team was from Tennessee. It's down there today. They're still down here as of today. Thank you for the coordination, the hard work, and the sleepless nights. I know you had a lot of them, so thank your whole team for that. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I want to thank Barry for taking care of myself and for a little tour of everything, all the damage, and there was a lot of damage, and we appreciate him doing that for us. Thank y'all for all y'all do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say, I sat in on most of the calls we had and stuff, and there's a lot of information out there, but I mean, when y'all are evaluating this stuff, if there's things that we can do better on the administrative side, please let us know, because we're not perfect, and we need to know if there's things we can do better. I think you guys were doing all you could do out there, but if there's something we need to do better, please don't hesitate to criticize us.
Mr. Chair, Dr. David, thank you so much. Can you share with the public in this meeting, I guess, I'm asking, the disaster relief place where if a person wants to contribute funds, and the county has a disaster relief fund that they can contribute to, how would they need to go about doing that?
Sure, I think the long-term recovery group, Colleton's long-term recovery group, they meet quarterly, and their next meeting is next week, I believe. And they do have a fund that they don't have any overhead, they don't pay for any costs. We host their website, we do all their agendas and minutes and everything, so they don't have any administrative costs at all, other than paying the Community Foundation of Low Country, which is the fund manager. We pay them an annual fee to manage the fund. But aside from that, 100% of the donations stay in Colleton County and can only be used for disaster relief. They're not paid to individuals, they're either paid to manage supplies or provide supplies to a voluntary organization such as the Baptist, Team Rubicon, or it's paid to a contractor to perform a work or service. Long-term recovery group is on our website. There's a link on there that takes you to Community Foundation of Low Country. You can donate to.
Mr. Chair, also on that, I think in this name, Colleton is working along with the long-term recovery group as well, and they've just received a grant, as of today, they got word they got to receive a grant for $10,000 to help towards supplies for this, and understand Colleton has some funds to distribute as well. So added to this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Green.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Ms. Hughes, does that include the administrative?
Unless y'all have questions.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions? Before we move to the,
The only thing we'd like to do is if maybe we could have a meeting with Barry and his group and us and follow up, make sure, next time we hopefully won't have another disaster, but to see what we did wrong or what we did right, if we could come up with that sometime in the near future. Before we forget what we didn't do right. So, thank you.
Before we move on the agenda, just a point of order, I meant to do this at the beginning. Your agendas that are in front of you tonight, it's say amended, it's not an amended agenda in the sense that it requires voice motion. The changes that were on there is that we did add, before the agenda went public, there was a personnel matter added in executive session for the solicitor's office, and also resolution 24-R-47, which is the resolution to accept some budgeting of grants. There were two grants that came in after the resolution was originally drafted, and they are listed as items under the whereas clause as items 3 and 5. So those were add-ons to that resolution. So just want to point that out. Moving on, then we'll go to item 8, public hearing. Is there a motion to go into public hearing? Second. We got a motion, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in public hearing. We have two ordinances and a resolution in public hearing. And the first item we have is ordinance 24-0-07, authorizing pursuant to Title 12, Chapter 44 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina 1976 as amended, the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes agreement signed between Colleton County, South Carolina and Sand Ridge Solar LLC, company formerly known to the county as Project Bobcat, a sponsor, to provide for a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes incentive and certain special source revenue credits to further amend the multi-county industrial business park agreement between Colleton County, South Carolina and Hampton County, South Carolina, providing for the development of a jointly owned and operated industrial/business park so as to include property in Colleton County as part of the park and other matters related thereto. Is there anyone who would like to address this ordinance? Seeing there are no comments, the second item B that we have under public hearing is ordinance 24-0-08, authorizing the county to borrow $2,300,000 on behalf of Low Country Regional Airport through the USDA Rural Development Loan Program for the construction of a new fuel farm and 2 T-hangar units at the Low Country Regional Airport. Anybody who would like to address this ordinance? Seeing there are no comments, we move to item C, resolution 24-R-46, to to establish millage for school operations for the fiscal year 24-25 budget year. Anybody who would address this ordinance? And I do see actually, Mr. Riser, I saw you were signed up on the sheet, but this would be the time, actually now, to come address the resolution. So, Mr. Riser, let's wait and get Mr. Riser up here first.
Mr. Chairman and council members, I thank you for listening to me tonight. My name is Philip Riser, and I'm here to speak for a growing number of Colletonians against the proposed resolution for a tax increase in which the school board has proposed to you. The tax increase, as I understand, will be on rental properties, vehicles, and second homes. First off, if you tax the rented properties, the landlords will only increase the rent amount owed to the renters. That's just what's going to happen. They're going to increase it. As you all know, here in Colleton County, most rental properties are for the poor of the county since they cannot afford to buy homes. In this case, the poor of the county lose again. Second, when you tax our vehicles for the school board resolution, the poor again will pay more of their disposable income on a percentage basis than others. The poor of this county lose a second time on a proposed increase in millage. Thirdly, a tax on second homes. As the mayor had said, y'all get along fine with Edisto Beach, and that's a wonderful thing because they bring in a lot of money to the county. Without them, I don't know where we would be financial-wise. But I've talked to several residents down at Edisto Beach, and a lot of the residents expressed to me that they are against this proposed tax increase for the school board. You get along fine with Edisto Beach now, let's continue to do it by voting this down. As you know, back in the mid-70s, when the Edisto Beach seceded to Colleton County, it was because of higher taxes. That was the reason they succeeded. So let's don't continue on that route again, and it may happen later in time. In summary, a tax increase, which is our money on rental properties and vehicles, which is a progressive tax, will only hurt the poor of this county. They are in a vulnerable position now with inflation costs going up. Please do not make it worse for them by voting for the proposed tax increase. We have been promised over the years, many times, by various school boards in the past that a new high school, a new middle school, and elementary schools will increase our children's learning ability. Our test scores do not bear this out. I looked at them today on the website, on the state website, from grade 3 up to grade 8. It varies depending on the grade level, and whether it's ELA or math or whatever. The proficiency rating was anywhere from 31% up to 49%. At Wren Elementary in Anderson County is at 98%. So the school system, by test scores, that's what I'm saying, don't bear it out. The school system currently has $18 million in surplus sitting in their bank account. I'm sure some of that's got some federal strings tied to it, and state strings tied to it, but I'm sure that most of it doesn't. So my question is, why are you even considering increasing taxes when the school board has $18 million sitting in the bank? As you all are aware, the school district just hired a second assistant superintendent with 300 plus less students this year than last year. Don't be fooled. The Colleton County School District has ample monies to provide for matching funds for the state grant without you all increasing our taxes on the pool. I'm not necessarily against the teacher's pay raise, but I'm really against it, Colleton County Council increasing the millage. I think we elected all 5 of you to be council members, not to be school board members. And I would like for you not to vote this. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a good day.
All right, anybody else wish to address this resolution?
Thank you, Chair Murdoch, and I want to say good evening to all council members and to your staff and to the public. It gives me great pleasure to stand before you tonight as you deliberate and make your final decisions concerning the Colleton County School District's request for a millage increase. Thank you for allowing the Board of Trustees, the school board chair, the school board vice chair, our finance director, and myself to collaborate with you over the past 5 months, providing you with district data, financial information, and updates on our mission, vision, and goals moving forward. Colleton County School District is the largest employer in Colleton County, with approximately 900 employees who serve 5 elementary schools, 1 early childhood center, 1 middle school, 1 high school, and 1 career and technology center. Our mission is to prepare every student to graduate with a 21st century education to be globally competitive for their chosen college and or career path. Do we, as a school district, have challenges in meeting these goals? Yes. Yes, we do. But those challenges come to create the fire within us to keep fighting for our children. I am a product of Colleton County School District, as well as many of you who are sitting in this room. We as a community are responsible for over 4,000 students plus that attend our schools because the rising generation depends on the generation that has risen to help them climb the ladder. I'm reminded of a quote that says, "Success is not just about climbing the ladder, but about lifting others up as you ascend." My responsibility as the leader of this school district is to lift every student, to lift every teacher, to lift every staff member up and fight for them to be compensated the way they so desperately deserve. We ask you to join us and show our school community that we all appreciate them for what they do each and every day, giving of themselves to ensure that the next firefighter, the next doctor, the next nurse, the next attorney, the next graphic designer, the next U.S. Marine, the next entrepreneur was given all of the resources that he or she needed to be successful, and that the citizens of this community, including city and county officials and community partners, put our most precious jewels, which are our children, first. Navigating through the challenges of reduced state revenue, unfunded mandates, incoming charter schools, public perception, not having the benefit of a millage increase since 2019, not having fiscal autonomy as other districts do in our state, those things could birth a spirit of despair and defeat. But we chose and we choose to keep fighting because it truly is all about the kids, because they are our future. Our students continue to invoke in us the courage and motivation to fight for their future. So I want to thank you for your support, and we look forward to the continued partnership that has been cultivated. And as we collaborate, we will discuss ways and continue to discuss ways that we can make our school system better. Again, on behalf of the Colleton County School District Board of Trustees, our employees, and the Colleton County community, thank you for your leadership. Together, we can make our schools and our community the best in the state of South Carolina. But first, we have to believe it. We have to believe it. We have to believe it. And we have to believe in all of the children in this community that need our support. We have to compete against Dorchester School District 2, Dorchester School District 4, Beaufort County, Charleston County. We have to compete against all of those school districts to retain teachers. We have to compete against all of those school districts for higher wages for our teachers. But we ask you to make the right decision tonight, to show our teachers and our students and our community that you support them and you support us in making our county and our community better. If we believe it, then we can achieve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Anybody else wish to address the resolution? Okay, seeing there's no other comments, we'll move to your motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We'll move to item 9 on the agenda, old business, third reading ordinance 24-0-07, authorizing pursuant to Title 12, Chapter 44 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina 1976 as amended, the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes agreement by and between Colleton County of South Carolina and Sand Ridge Solar LLC, a company formerly known to the county as Project Bobcat, as sponsor to provide for a fee in lieu of ad valorem tax incentive and certain special source revenue credits. Further amend the multi-county industrial business park agreement between Colleton County, South Carolina and Hampton County, South Carolina, providing for the development of a jointly owned and operated industrial business park so as to include property in Colleton County as a part of the park and other matters related thereto.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. The motion carries 4 votes to 1. Item B, second reading ordinance 24-0-09 to amend ordinance 93-0-29 to change the name of the Colleton County Board of Disabilities and Special Needs to Colleton Care.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Brings us to item C, second reading ordinance 24-0-10, authorizing pursuant to Title 12, Chapter 44 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina 1976, as amended, the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes agreement by and between Colleton County, South Carolina and Project Sun as sponsor and one or more sponsor affiliates to provide for a fee in lieu of ad valorem tax incentive and certain special source revenue credits for the benefit of a project in the county to further amend the multi-county industrial business park agreement between Colleton County, South Carolina and Hampton County, South Carolina, providing for the development of a jointly owned and operated industrial business park so as to include additional property in Colleton County as part of the park, providing for the allocation of fee in lieu of taxes paid by Project Sun under the agreement for establishment of multi-county industrial business park and other matters related thereto.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I guess I probably want to say 1 or 2 things here. These instruments, the fee in lieu and special source revenue credit, I mean, these things are designed for companies that's creating jobs. They're not, I mean, we can see a big person, you can see a paycheck and a fee in lieu, but we're not creating jobs here. We're 1 or 2 people going to be working.
No, you're correct, but the fee in lieu agreement in this case really is spelling out the fee that we agreed with these companies that we would receive.
Right.
So much, so it's, the fee in lieu agreement typically would include a bunch of other things. In this case, it's not as much a job as it is the fee that's coming into the county from the solar farm.
Mr. Chair, I mean, I get it's for jobs, but when you take a piece of land that's nowhere near infrastructure, it's not going to be developed for 40 or 50 years because of where it is, you turn $10,000 a year in tax revenue into $200,000 or $700,000, that's a big deal for citizens of this county. It's going to have a benefit, and so I think it's worth the fee in lieu of taxes in those cases.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. And the motion carries 4 votes to 1. New business, discussion of the county holiday schedule. Included in your packet. We have the copies right here. Okay, this is out of the county, section 11.48 has a list of all the county holidays in there. This is an issue that's come up regarding the inclusion, and I guess this was done by really the state in the last few years, the inclusion of Confederate Memorial Day, and some objection by some some employees perhaps to that, celebrating that holiday, or maybe wanting to add additional holiday. So we're having a discussion of the holiday schedule and considering the maybe removal or making it an optional holiday in lieu of the Confederate Memorial Day.
Chairman, it appears to me that we're following the state holiday system, county, and all the other holidays are not military things. And I think the state passed a law relative to that, section 53.5.10 establishes legal enumerated holidays and stuff for South Carolina. And we have followed that all these years, so I don't see why we need to change it now. And of course, you know, that's been a holiday ever since I can remember in this town, in this county. So I think, you know, if we want to change something like that, we should think about it a while before we make a quick decision. I'm going to be taking this discussion until we get all the information.
Okay, we have a motion to table.
Second.
Is there a discussion on the motion to table?
It's been tabled for years. But I'm one voice out here. And when we hurt one citizen, we hurt all. And we're supposed to do no harm. And I'm not saying you're hurting anybody. I'm not saying taking away anybody's history, anybody's heritage, any of that. You celebrate what you want to celebrate. But we can have a discussion about there's national holidays, there's state holidays. Not every county in the state of South Carolina adopts the state calendar based on this section 53-5-10. In fact, there could, if you look at the second paragraph, there could be some other shifts as long as it doesn't exceed the 10 days in there. As a county, we can do, just like you said, we can table it and bring the discussion up later. And where are we going to discuss it? Outside of the public or what?
Chip, I think we should table it.
That's relative to the motion to table it.
Right, yeah, we're in the discussion phase. I mean, and I think you're right, there probably are, and I don't know how many. I'm sure there's other counties that don't necessarily follow the state holiday schedule. Maybe we need that information. But this holiday was added in. It's obviously not a national holiday. So if we have a motion to table and we can instruct the administrator to gather some of that information about counties, what the other counties are doing as far as this holiday schedule is concerned, then we can revisit this issue at a future meeting.
Mr. Chair, I would love to, you know, I've gotten one email on this in the last year. I understand the person's position. But we also, I thought we were going to discuss this in executive session where we can hammer out the proper course forward so it doesn't put onus on department heads if you do a floating holiday, where it doesn't, if you don't disenfranchise one group to appease another group. And we all have valid arguments, but I've heard from several different sides on this. I don't think we've had the substantive conversation yet to have viable solutions to this. So I think it deserves a more serious approach that we can make sure we talk to the elder groups in the county, make sure we come up with a solution that works. So for that reason, we support the table.
Mr. Chair, you know, Scott and I being new on council, you know, this had never been brought up before. So I think we got one email. And, you know, that's why I agree with it being tabled where we can, you know, discuss a little more. I'm not against anything we might decide, but I'd like to, you know, discuss it a little more.
Right, and I mean, I think that's appropriate. I think it's, you know, I have also, not emails, I got a couple, not even calls, but just encounters with citizens about actually the addition of the Juneteenth holiday. And of course, what I'm not in favor of is adding additional holidays. We got a bunch of holidays, so that's why I mean, if we took this one off and just created an optional, it would be fine with me. But we do, maybe we should, you know, look and see what the other counties are doing and we follow suit.
I'm fine with both
And
Call for the vote.
All right, all in favor of the motion to table, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried unanimously. All right, that brings us into first reading ordinance 24-0-12, to ratify fiscal year 24 grant and budget resolutions and related appropriations for all funds, to ratify transfer and other resolutions previously authorized by council and other matters related thereto.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Brings us to item C, first reading ordinance 24-0-13, by title only, authorizing pursuant to Title 12, Chapter 44 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina 1976 as amended. One, the execution and delivery of fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes agreement by and between Colleton County, South Carolina, and the company known to the county as Project Ironside, as sponsored to provide for a fee in lieu of ad valorem tax incentives and certain special source revenue credits. Two, the enlargement of the boundaries of the multi-county industrial business park previously created by Colleton County and Hampton County to include certain property located in Colleton County, South Carolina now, and two, the hereafter owned and or operated by Project Ironside or one or more companies related thereto or other related matters.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously. First reading ordinance 24-0-14 by title only, to authorize the rezoning of 12.1 acre parcel located on Oswald Court, identified as tax map series 131-16-00114, from residential suburban to urban development 1 UD1.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Any
Second.
discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item E, first reading ordinance 24-0-15 by title only, providing for the issuance and sale of Colleton County, South Carolina hospitality and accommodations fee revenue bonds, series 2024, in the principal amount of not to exceed $4 million, to prescribe the purpose for which the proceeds shall be expended, to provide for the payment thereof and other matters related thereto.
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item F, resolution 24-R-46, to establish millage for school operation for fiscal year 2019-20. Says 2019-20. I think that's just the wrong date. Budget year.
So moved.
So motion. Is there a second? I'll second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman. I've worked all over this county and know it inside and out, along with the people who live here. While the millage tax increase might seem small, many of our citizens already struggle to afford basic food and medicine. Adding more tax on our citizens is something I just can't support. Plus, raising taxes for the folks on Edisto Beach is another issue. Being at large seat, I must consider the entire county and Edisto Beach when making my decision. I fully support our school board, Superintendent Jessica Williams, our teachers, and especially our kids. We have a difficult job, but we must also make tough decisions. As a grandfather with 3 grandkids in our schools, this was a difficult decision for me. After a lot of thought and prayer, I have decided to vote against raising taxes. Whenever I talk to people around about raising taxes for our schools, they all say the same thing. They want to see some improvement, and then they wouldn't mind taxes going up. Our legislation did a good job this year by getting our teachers a raise, but until they level the playing field with our neighboring wealthier counties, we won't be able to compete for the most qualified teachers. I hope you understand where I'm coming from and why I made this decision. Also, you know I support kids, but I have to think about this county, and I know this county, and there's people out there struggling. $20 might seem a lot, not a lot to some people, but there is some people out there, $20 we can buy groceries or get medicine for that week. So for that reason, we go around it.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna, this is the most difficult thing I've had since I've been here. And just because we don't agree on every topic and every item does not mean we're against the kids. I want to assure everyone in this room and everybody that we are and always want the kids to get the best education. But throwing money at a situation, when I heard earlier, and I believe in all of you, and I've helped support and I've helped develop programs, and I'll continue to do so as long as I'm allowed to. Visions, missions, and goals. The part I don't see in there is the results. And we're still waiting on test results to come out in a few weeks that hopefully will tell us whether we're doing better, partially or part of the equation. It'll also tell us whether the state is still going to come in and partially or fully take over our school district. We're still in that realm. So for us to ask the citizens of this county to endure a forever tax, that when it goes on, it's never going on, towards a system or towards a project that has not proven itself yet with test scores. I'm a business person. That's how I ran. And I would love to revisit this. And with the aforementioned in the earlier contacts, the funds the school has, the $500,000 will not make or break this school district. The kids will still be supported. And if the test results come in and the state does not take it over and we're seeing improvements, then I know everybody would be really heavily invested in funding the mission. But the results have not bared that out yet. And I hope you understand that. I've wrestled this so much, you have no idea. I want to support the kids in every way forward, but if the system that is in place is not working to better kids' education, is throwing money at it, supporting them, or is it disappointing them? So, if this doesn't pass, the kids will still be supported, and we can revisit this early next spring when we see the results, and hopefully we're on an upward trajectory at that time. That's all I have.
Any other comments?
I want to say that I'm a product of the Colleton County school system. Whenever we went to school, we didn't have fine buildings. We didn't have air conditioning. We saw cracks under the floor under the school. We brought in cold to heat us in the wintertime. The children did that. We had 15 graduate from my class at Millage High School. There were 2 physicians, a veterinarian, a minister, and 3 teachers out of that 15. And the others, had good jobs. So your facilities don't make education. It's what goes on the inside that makes education. We've got to get back to the reading, writing, and arithmetic. These children can't read. These children can't calculate. They can't even fill out an application for a simple job. We've got to get back to basics in this county. All the programs you have here are not working. So if you do the same thing over and over and expect a different result, that's insane. That it's just not working. And the people of this county know that. And we've seen the so-called test scores go down over time, not go up. And we were told that we weren't going to get any information until October. But it's in the News and Courier came out the other day about the scores for Charleston County. So why aren't we getting that information here now? It's right in the News and Courier. Why do we not have it in this county? I asked for some information at the last meeting we had. Nobody's contacted me about it, not one bit. I haven't been contacted one bit about the information I asked. Also, as he stated, once a tax goes on, it's a permanent tax. You have $18 million in a reserve fund. If you took $650,000 out of that, it's be 3.6% for that. We give in over $29 million now to this, of the taxpayers' money to this school system. That's a lot of money for Colleton County. It's almost as our budget for the whole county running everything we do. So I just want to see our county move forward with good education. But also, when we raise taxes, industry looks at our tax base when it comes here. The higher our taxes is, the least amount of attraction we have in industry. That's another thing we have, as a county council, have to think about. So I want you to realize that we're not here to castigate or to criticize, but we're here to point out facts, and these are the facts. You can look them up if you want, but I can guarantee you that my facts are right. So I can't vote for this because of that. But you have enough money to do this funding in your reserve fund. And plus, you know, you gave $1 million out in bonuses earlier this year, sign bonuses. And that, you ought to take that into consideration when you knew you were going to have to come up with this at this time. So I'm just pointing out some facts of life, and I just want to let you know why I'm going to vote against this too. Thank you.
Well, let me give my position, and I think that's what we're all up here to do. And then let me first start by saying that, look, you know, the government is a collective process of us all coming together and debating our issues. My position on this is this. First of all, the statement was made, why are we voting on the school? Because we're not on the school board. And that's true. We're not on the school board. I'm not on the school board. I don't go to the school board meetings. I probably should go to more than I do, but, you know, when I'm on 5 other boards and everything else as part of my obligation to the county, I can't attend those things. But that's why you have those elected officials there at those school boards, they go to those meetings and make some of those decisions. Now, the reason that I'm up here voting on this tonight is because they don't have fiscal autonomy in Colleton County. Some counties have fiscal autonomy. Their school board votes for their millage rate. I can assure you, the last thing I really want to be doing up here tonight is voting on the millage rate for the school. I would just assume the school district have the right to vote on raising the millage. But it's part of my obligation as an elected official on the county. Now, some residents like that because they view it like the Constitution. It's a system of checks and balances. We got the checks and balances on the school board by having county council vote on the millage increase. But when we're going to do that, I think we have to realize that we're not on the school board. We have to rely on the work that these folks are doing. And folks, the school district is not our enemy. I hear it a lot, and we want to sit and talk about the school district and the school board. But, you know, free public education is not a new concept in this country. It started with our founding fathers. You know, they were the ones that put the system in place of free education. It was one of their core ideals, all the way back to colonial time. But the public school system has to be, the legislature every year makes them accountable for certain things. They're held accountable for them. And each year they keep moving the ball. And at the same time, add insult to injury, the legislature comes along and they promote all these things for school choice. Charter schools are mentioned. Well, what does those things do when you have school choice? I'm in favor of school choice, because, you know, private is private. But school choice takes money away from the public school system. And that's also a fact. You can believe it or not, but it's a fact. It takes money away from the schools. So, and that reduction in cost, when you do that, it's never proportional to the amount of cost, because if you take 2 kids out of this class, 2 kids out of that class, 2 kids out of that class, well, guess what? You still got to have a teacher in that class. And you know what? Teachers, Dr. Flowers mentioned reading, writing, and arithmetic. Well, who teaches reading, writing, and arithmetic? Teachers. And you got to have a teacher in the classroom. You got to have the building. You got to have the same light bill. It's not going to change it if you take 2 kids out of this class, 2 kids out of that class. So we're making this decision. It's a tough decision. And we were asked to give the district more than the $2.5 million that we proposed giving them, because their funding gap was much shorter. I arrived at that compromise based on the fact that that is the amount of the unfunded mandate by the state of South Carolina, who says you're going to give these teachers a pay increase of X number of dollars, and we're only going to fund 75% of it, so you're going to make up the other 25%. That's the amount that's equivalent, roughly, not exactly, to the $2.5 million increase. So I think that's a reasonable compromise. Now, the school district has not had a millage increase in almost 6 years. So Some of you are gonna leave here tonight, I know it, just plain today, you're gonna criticize and say, well, Steve's just trying to raise your taxes. Look, people are suffering, I understand that. If your prices are high, I don't know if it's inflation or price gouging, depends on which network you watch at night. But the fact of the matter is, prices are up. But you know, we implemented an increase in the road user fee this council. We increased fees for solid waste disposal. Well, those are taxes. Let's just be honest. Let's call them what they are. They're taxes. But you know why we did that? Because the cost of living is going up. We have to do that. And in 6 years, we haven't given the school district a funding increase, a millage increase, which I think has been pretty responsible of county council. Maybe from the school board side, they may not feel it's quite as responsible. But we've been very frugal with your money. So a 2.5 proposed mill increase is not a lot. It's not a lot over a 6-year period. And we took an oath as council members to do what we thought was in the collective best interest of this community. And that collective best interest doesn't just include voters. What about the kids? What about the kids? Some of those kids, they're a victim of their own circumstances. They can't help. We're talking about adult problems. The kids are being held hostage to adult problems. And we spend thousands, if not millions, of dollars each year on economic development in this county to market ourselves and to companies from now all over the world. Economic development's a global game now. It's not, you know, some company coming from another state away. You know, we got companies from Turkey, China, Vietnam. We're marketing ourselves to everybody. Well, how do we explain to these companies, when we bring them into our community and we say, we want you to come here and spend your money in our community, and the first thing they want to see is, well, where's the school district? Take us to the school district. What's your relationship with the school district? Well, how are we going to explain when we don't want to help the school board? Now, I understand you can disagree with whether they're being responsible or not being responsible, and everything up here that was said in some way is accurate. But the fact of the matter is, a 2.5 millage increase over a 6-year period is not that significant. And the cost of salaries is going up. We're trying to be competitive. Every time our teachers get a pay increase and we finally we take a step forward and try to become competitive, guess what happens? All the counties around us do that. What have we done as a council? When our firemen or our police officers in neighboring counties get a pay increase and we become less competitive, we step up and we increase the pay. We've done that every year since I've been on council. So, should we do less for the school board? Now, 2.5 mil increase is really not significant. It's not what they're asking for. And I hear what they're saying, and the comment was made at the podium up there, and it says the school district has an $18 million fund sitting there. Well, guess what? That's one of the things I was excited about this year, because our school district has never had a solid fund balance. GFOA, which stands for the Government Finance Officers Association, they make a recommendation to every governmental entity that they maintain a solid fund balance, which should be at least 2 months of your operating revenue or operating expenditures, so that you don't go under and go bankrupt. We have that same fund, the county. We have a fund balance. The same thing that they have. So I don't want them to deplete their fund balance. I want them to keep their fund balance and maintain it strong and healthy and invest it and get some return on it. So we have to work together with our school board. The 2.5 mil increase over a 6-year period is not that significant. And I know it's going to hurt some people. But if it helps the kids in this community, if it helps us, if we get one economic development project out of somebody going to that school district and says, hey, I like what I see, it's going to more than pay for a 2.5 mil increase. So I'm going to support it. It appears from what I'm hearing it may not pass. But I think it's the prudent thing to do. I don't take this decision lightly either. And if you want to criticize me saying I'm increasing your taxes, I'm trying to do what's fair and in the collective best interest of the folks in the county. So that's my position. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. The motion fails 3-2. We'll move then to item G, Resolution 24R47, to authorize acceptance and budgeting of various grants 24-25.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carried unanimously. Item H, Resolution 24-R-48, to authorize the addition of three floater positions within Colleton County Fire Rescue.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item I, Resolution 24-R-49, to waive solid waste destruction and debris landfill fees related to Tropical Storm Debbie.
So moved.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Discussion. Megan, I don't know if you know this, but are we keeping a tally on the weights of those things? Does that go to FEMA?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So are we compensated for the tipping fees from that, or how does that work?
I think like a percentage of it is probably, not sure. I can find out.
All right, brings us to item J, Resolution 24R-50, to authorize council clerk to advertise for board vacancies.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'm gonna just, I know it's been a long meeting, but let's read these in case somebody present.
No, that's just the advertising.
Right, but I want to read the
Okay.
vacancies. So we have, the Board of Adjustments and Appeals has 3 vacancies, 2 from Citistry and I guess 1 from Carpentry. County Assessment Appeals has 2 vacancies, the Board of Disabilities has 3 vacancies, Accommodations Tax Advisory Board has 1 vacancy, the Recreation Commission has 1 vacancy, and the Alcohol and Drug Abuse has 3 vacancies. Keep Colleton Beautiful Commission has 5 vacancies.
If we do the 2 on the appointments, is that still going to be for the Board of Disabilities? Is that still going to be 3? No, so that's going to be 1 prior to this. Okay.
Yeah, and we talked about this once before, but some of these boards that are unable to function due to quorums, we need to, again, revisit the size of these organs. Some of them are set by statute, I think, but we need to revisit the size so that they can have a quorum and be able to conduct business. Because I know, like, Keep Colleton Beautiful is 5, we haven't been able to fill that board for quite some time, so I'm sure that they're having a difficult time even having a meeting. Yeah. Can you, send one of y'all, schedule that up for us? All right, and, not all the question.
No, you're good.
All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Resolution 24-R-51, to appoint members to board vacancies. We have, applicants for the Colleton County Edisto River Canoe and Kayak Trail Committee. We have 1 vacancy, 1 applicant, Jonathan Burrows. Colleton County Planning Commission has 1 vacancy. We have 1 applicant, Adam Bishop. Colleton County Board of Disabilities and Special Needs has 3 vacancies. We have 2 applicants, Jasmine Douglas and Kimberly White Footman. The board, Colleton County Land Use Zoning Board of Appeals has 1 vacancy. 1 applicant, Mr. Wade Drawley. Is there a motion that we appoint these folks by acclamation?
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item 11, items for information and public record. There are none this evening. Item 12, we are at the public comment section of the agenda. If anybody would like to make any comments to council, we would ask if you would please step up to the, well, I guess you call it a podium at the end of the counter here and state your name for the record. We'd be glad to hear you at this time.
Good evening, council. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to stand before you as I have before a number of times as school board chair. My name is Sharon, and I'm joined here with our superintendent, Ms. Jessica Williams. I wanted to address Dr. Flowers, your concern and that you had asked for some testing results. That information had been embargoed until last week, so we will certainly provide you with that information. Appreciate there was a reference earlier. I think the gentleman probably has left. That at reference our state test data, and that is available, so we'll make sure you get that information. Just want to share that as an elected official, I understand you have challenging situations to consider, and appreciate the time that you've given us. However, I understand where I am drawn to service, and I feel as if we have a mutual desire to benefit our community. So I'm really stretched here and trying to understand some of the thoughts and logic into what caused you to make these decisions this evening. I'm running for re-election in November, and someone asked me, do you feel appreciated? And I answered very honestly, yes, I do. I don't feel successful yet. I don't feel accomplished. I don't feel like I've been able to do what I need to do as an elected official. How do you do? I hope that you feel accomplished, because I don't think I feel anything at this point except for a severed relationship between a school district and a county. I don't feel the support. I'm struggling to understand, even though you all gave your explanations and you gave your reasons, I'm not feeling it. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you, council members. I just wanted to give you some additional information because there were some questions concerning our data, and I just wanted to let you know, as Ms. Wicken just said, our data was embargoed by the state until last week Friday. It was unembargoed, and then we did a presentation at our board meeting on Tuesday, and we gave all of the testing information at that particular time, and we will get you specific numbers that you asked for. But I wanted to explain to you as far as the designations are concerned. So the test data, the assessment data, is just one part of how the state rates us. They have different indicators that we're rated by. So they look at our graduation rate, they look at our test scores, they look at surveys that our parents and teachers have to fill out. They look at how many students are on track for graduation. There's lots of indicators, and then they put all of those indicators together. They have a calculator that they use, and they calculate whether our schools are unsatisfactory, below average, average, good, or excellent. So at this time, we have to, because we're in our third year of designation, we have to ensure that we have 65% or more of our schools average. We won't know that until October. But the test data has been given to us. Got that on last week Friday. So it's unembargoed. You can go on the State Department's website as well to see that test data, but we will send it to you. But what I wanted you to understand is we don't know yet what our ratings are going to be until October, because the test scores are just one part of those calculations. They calculate other things as well. So right now, we need 5 of our schools to be average so that the state does not take us over. From our calculations that we've done, our preliminary calculations, we know that we have 3. We've never had 3 average schools. Never. So that is a point of celebration, and we are going to celebrate that. Now, there's some missing data that we don't have to know if the other 2 schools will make it to average or not. So we're waiting for that. We're hoping to have that data sometime end of September, but it's still embargoed until October. We still can't, let the public know, okay, we have 3, 4, 5 average schools until that time. So I just wanted to let you know there's a lot more than just test scores that goes into our school rating. Thank you.
Any other public comment? And seeing none, we'll move to council time. Any members of council have any comments?
I do, Mr. Chair. I've heard some comments, and I surely hope we haven't severed relationships, because I still plan to work together. As we just mentioned, we won't know the final results in October. It's very hard to ask citizens, and this comes from all socioeconomic statuses, all backgrounds. They wanted to see the data as to where we were improving. It's hard to ask them to incur a permanent tax increase without having that data. I'm data-driven, I'm business-driven, and I hope that's understood where I'm coming from. It has nothing to do with me not supporting children in the school district. I think there's a big path forward, and I know this is going a long meeting, but I do want to point this out. When you look at 2006, when Prop 388 was passed, no primary residents are paying taxes, school millage. That set us up for big failure in rural communities, big time. If you look at 5,000 students in Colleton County, just for average, I know we're lower, 50,000 in Charleston County. We touched, so we're going to match those up. $52 million budget, so it's not exact. If it was multiplied times 10, Charleston County should have a $520 million school budget to be per capita, same amount per student. But the way the tax state has set the tax code up, their budget is $1.7 billion. You can't compete with that. We can't. The rural counties cannot compete with that. It's set up so unfairly. I've already started conversations with Robbie Robbins in the State House. We talked about it tonight, multi-county industrial revenue sharing to balance out some of the economic stuff. There's got to be a way the state can help level the playing field and share some of those more affluent counties' revenue with the poorer counties and the kids that are in poverty. We've got to figure that out and balance this out. And I hope the test results come back great. I hope we pass and I hope we continue to improve and so start this conversation early next year and make it happen based upon the results. I just want to give you my undying support, and I'm sorry it didn't go the way you wanted it to go. I have to see data, and I'm sorry for disappointing everybody.
Anybody else?
I do. Yeah, I say it's basically the same thing as Scott was saying. I hope it don't save our relationship, because I got 3 kids in public school, and I would do anything for them or the rest of the kids in public school. But we have to make decisions that we don't like to make, and that's what I did. I made it. I talked to a lot of citizens and asked them, and that's the way I came up with my vote. And so, I hope when we come to the school board, because we always come. We missed the other night because we had something else to go to, but we try to come and support it. I hope we'll be able to continue with our relationship.
Okay, I think we all set our piece on that. I did want to ask, I know Kevin's out tonight, but I don't remember when now, but we'd asked about a reconciliation of that TLOC. I don't know if John might have been going to take the lead on that, but will you put the bug in the beer again about, see if, we're not looking for anything elaborate, I just want to see basically TLOCs coming in, TLOCs going out. I think that would be helpful to all of us, just to kind of keep track of that, so to speak. And maybe he's got some system. Was it?
That's okay, that's report.
No, it's trying to rectify the multi-county costs, like money in or out.
And how much we have to pay the other county.
And how much we should be getting.
We should be getting from Charleston County.
Well, what generated that is I know there was a Department of Revenue had an issue with some of the counties who have a less sophisticated accounting system than we do, let's say. We're not paying their shares. Anyway, it turned into a big audit nightmare, and I just want us to kind of check on that, see where we are as far as, now, we don't need it tomorrow, I'm just saying, next week. Okay, all right, well, if you have it there, then just email it, unless it's something that needs to be redacted. Yeah,
I didn't see it.
I passed that budget and didn't go through.
So, all right, if there's no other council comments, then the next item on the agenda is executive session. We have a legal matter involving Colleton County Sheriff's Office, flock cameras, legal matter regarding both boards and commissions, legal matter regarding airport loan, personnel matter regarding council member recognition, personnel matter regarding fire rescue volunteers, personnel matter regarding the solicitor's office. Is there a motion to go into executive?
We go into executive session.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in executive, staying in executive.
talking about.